Who is most likely to not wear a Boston Celtics jersey in 2025-26? That's what we're going to discuss on today's show. Is we're going to be ranking the top trade candidates for the Boston Celtics. We're going to go through everybody on the team so you know who's going to stay and who's going to go. Because honestly, the Celtics are going to have to make moves. What's going on, Green Teamers? You're watching Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Tyler Smith, and let's set the stage a little bit for you because we know the Celtics have a lot of money on their books, and let's be frank, too much money on their books heading into next season. They are paying more in tax penalties, $270 million. That's more than the actual projected salary of the team, which is $230 million. So you're paying more for nothing than you are for the actual players that you're getting out there on the court. And the Celtics facing this type of penalties with new ownership coming in, it's very, very unlikely that every player that you saw on the court in 24-25 is going to be out there for Boston in 25-26. So let's take a look individually at all these different contracts that Boston has. The big ones, obviously, you got Tatum and Brown making supermax deals at more than $50 million a pop. 54 for Tatum, 53 for Brown next season. You got Jrue Holiday making $32 million a year. Kristaps Porzingis also above 30 as well. And then Derek White, who's making $28 million, and I would call that one of the best value contracts in the entire league. Some of the more smaller deals for Boston include Sam Hauser, who just got that extension last offseason. He's making $10 million next year. Peyton Pritchard, maybe arguably the second or first. I could flip-flop either one of D. White or Pritchard's contracts as being the best value in the NBA. He makes $7 million. Baylor Shireman, second-year pro. He'll be making $2.6. And Xavier Tillman will still be under contract as well, making $2.5 million. So with all the contracts in your knowledge now, name a player that the Celtics should trade away to get under the second apron. Maybe get under the, who knows, maybe get under the first apron. I don't know. They got to move money around. They got to do something. Who's a player that should be traded away from Boston? You let me know down in the comments section. All right, now let's get into ranking all the Celtics trade candidates, starting all the way from the top. And we're not going to do this in a numerical order of a sense, but we're just going to attack this in tiers. And you'll know what I mean as we kind of go along here. Let's start with this tier. Locks to wear green. And right off the bat, I mean, Jayson Tatum, he's not going to be wearing much green jerseys next year, per se, but he'll be wearing a lot of green on the bench, supporting his guys and trying to rehab that Achilles to get back for 26-27. Jayson Tatum is guaranteed to be a Boston Celtic next year. Another lock to wear green, in my opinion, is Derek White. And now, over the past couple of days, and very fitting that it's super early in the offseason, nobody knows a damn thing that's going to happen right now, but there are some rumors swirling around Derek White, and I want to kind of get this out of the way, and this might not be the only time I talk about this on the channel, but there are rumors out there of the Golden State Warriors having interest in trading for Derek White. And to be fair, like, they're absolutely right to have that interest. Derek White would be arguably, in my opinion, the best plug and play player in the Warriors system out of anybody that you can go out there and pick that's not a straight up superstar. Derek White would fit seamlessly in the Golden State Warriors offense, and Logan Murdoch of The Ringer thinks that this is a real possibility for them to attack. He said another guy that I think you should look at for the Warriors going forward, this is on the Zach Lowe podcast, is Derek White. I think that's something the Warriors are looking at right now. Yeah, that's awesome. The Warriors can look at it all they want. I'm not sure they're going to go and get Derek White because, to be honest with you guys, Golden State has zero assets that I would like back in a trade for Derek White. I want nothing to do with Jonathan Kuminga. I don't care about the rest of their young talent and Podziemski, Moody. Who gives a shit? Like, they don't, aside from like the premium draft picks that they could go out there and send out. I think they are able to send out 3 or 4 picks and maybe a swap or 2 as well. But Jayson Tatum's going to be on my roster for the foreseeable future. I'm not looking to be in the lottery or looking to add, 19, 20-year-old players that are on a different timeline than Jayson Tatum. It's kind of crazy for us to be saying that now with Tatum, 27, 28 years old. But the final lock to wear green, in my opinion, is the other player who I mentioned being one of the better values in the NBA, and that's Peyton Pritchard. And look, man, you're not going to be like, it makes really no sense to me at all. Peyton Pritchard extremely outplayed his contract. The $7.2 million that's on his deal for next season isn't going to move the needle. Like, the only way I see Peyton Pritchard being moved is some mega surprise deal. Like something where they're getting back, like, can't say no type of assets. And they're like, okay, well, we'll include Pritchard. Maybe they're getting something back to replace him. this contract it feels to me untradeable. Like, there's no point in getting rid of $7.2 million, $7.8 million, and $8.3 million when you're getting a 15-point per game scorer off of your bench that can light it up and space the floor from three and handle a lot of ball handling responsibilities as well. I mean, just look at the progression from this guy, getting better every single season. And yes, with more opportunity, he's had more production, but the efficiencies have gone up as well. From 22 to 23, then to 23 to 24, he goes up in percentage by 2 in the three-point category. Then he's all the way at 41% on the highest volume of his career in 24-25, winning the Sixth Man of the Year award. I think Peyton Pritchard is going to be a member of the Boston Celtics for a very, very long time. So, with that being said, we talked about the guys who I believe are locks to be Celtics. And in this next comment, you cannot say Jayson Tatum. Which player is the most untouchable on the Boston Celtics? You guys let me know. Is it Pritchard? Is it Derek White? Is it the guy that we're going to talk about next? You let me know who the most untouchable Boston Celtic is down in the comments, but you can't say Tatum. I'd say Jaylen Brown is a player that you could comment as to that question. And I do believe that there is about a 95%, you could argue 96, 97, 98, 99% chance that he is back. But I don't believe that he is as locked to be a Celtic as Tatum, White, or Pritchard. Look, Jaylen Brown is awesome. We know this. Finals MVP, one of the best wing defenders in the NBA, can create his own shot. And we saw when Jayson Tatum was absent, his ability to be a facilitator and affect all aspects of the game on offense. But he is a little bit inconsistent. He does carry a huge, huge salary to his name. And there are opportunities out there to make deals to get yourself even further below the second apron and maybe get the most return back if you were to trade, say, Jrue Holiday or Kristaps Porzingis or somebody else in the Celtics roster. Jaylen Brown is your biggest chip as far as what you'll get back in a deal. He's an all-NBA level player. And that's why I think the Boston Celtics will keep him at the end of the day. Like, Tatum and Brown, this duo is the best in the league over the past 8 years. First in playoff points, JT is since 2016-17 in the playoffs. Fourth in playoff points for Jaylen Brown. And guess what? That just swaps when it comes to playoff wins. Jaylen Brown's first in playoff wins since 2017. Jayson Tatum's fourth in playoff wins since 2017. And by the way, Tatum's also first in playoff wins since 2018 as well. This is a duo you don't break up. And listen, I have my gripes with Jaylen Brown. I get frustrated when he can't handle the ball and turns it over at nauseum. But you can't argue with what the main goal is when it comes to playing basketball, and that's winning basketball games. Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown have done that better than any duo in the past decade. And I understand that you might get some great stuff back for a Jaylen Brown, but replacing his production that he gives to this roster night in night out, it's nearly impossible. I don't see them getting a player back, whether it's somebody who can develop into or just somebody who is what he is right now, at the level that Jaylen Brown gives the Boston Celtics. So I don't think that they are going to trade him. It looks like the core is going to be Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, and Derek White for the years to come. So now we're going to move forward into the Celtics that are most likely to be traded. We got the guys that are likely going to be wearing green for the foreseeable future, but now who is on the chopping block? We've hinted at some names already on the show, but we'll talk about them in depth in just a moment. First, though, I got to shout out our proud sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports platform because it's daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. All you guys got to do is pick a lineup of 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on their projected stats. Whether it's basketball, baseball, or hockey, you got playoffs in full swing all around right now. They also have esports, bowling, darts, golf too, so you can mix and match whatever in your Prize Picks lineup and win up to 2,000 times your money. Prize Picks also always wants to make it easy for you guys to win that money as well with deals like Taco Tuesday, where they discount stat projections, Flex Friday, where if you lose your lineup, you get it back in promo funds up to $20, and our special deal at Chat Sports, code CLNS, that gets you $50 for free when you place your first $5 entry. Eastern Conference Finals coming up, Game 1 on Wednesday, and I got Jalen Brunson more than 28.5 points. I got Miles Turner more than 15.5, and then Josh Hart less than 12 points. You can tail my picks or fade them. This is a 5x entry, turning 20 into 100. Just download the Prize Picks app today. Use the promo code CLNS for $50 instantly when you place your first $5 entry. You don't even need to win that entry to see the $50. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. All that information will be clickable down in the comment section and description of today's video. All right, Sam Hauser, we won't touch on this too long, but he could stay, he could go, making $10 million next year if you want to match some sort of salaries. And it's tough, right? Because with the Celtics being in the second apron, they're going to have to trade one guy because you can't aggregate contracts when you're above the second apron. So if you trade one guy to get below it, then you trade another guy to get your books even cleaner. That's when you could attach Sam Hauser to a deal to kind of match salaries and get more assets back. And Hauser, he's been great as far as being a floor spacer in the regular season. But to be honest with you guys, like he doesn't get a lot of burn in the playoffs, and his efficiencies have dropped significantly over the last two seasons when the postseason comes around. Like in 23-24, he drops 4% all the way to 38%. That's not bad by any means. Hauser was incredibly effective in the C's championship run. But then you look to 24-25, where he's taking the similar volume during the regular season, and then he just doesn't see action in the postseason. To be honest, though, he was coming off of a sprained ankle, so I can't knock him too much. But again, like not a player that is necessarily a lock to be a Boston Celtic by any means, especially when you consider the tax penalties that his $10 million contract does carry. But let's move on, though, to the guys who are likely on the way out at this point. And it's not just one player, it's two. But the first, though, we're going to discuss is Jrue Holiday. And this sucks, man, because I love Jrue, and I love what he's brought to this team. I really thought he was the guy who took the Celtics over the edge. I'm not so sure. Maybe they would have won the title with Smart, but or maybe they would have won the title with Brogdon or whoever they kept outside of and Robert Williams, who they kept and sent away to Portland. But Jrue really took this team over the edge. He shot an incredible percentage from three-point range last season. He definitely dropped his efficiencies this year, and that's why he might be on the chopping block. And you look at his contract, like, it is a big number for a guy who's 35 years old, going to be 37 years old, making his age in millions. Like, that's not exactly something that a lot of teams are going to be knocking down your door for. Like, he is an incredibly effective player. He contributes a ton to winning, but this is a lot of money to have on your books. So with the new CBA, it's not exactly the most prized possession that a lot of teams are going to go out there and be looking for. Mark Stein, though, did say, this is why Holiday's in this portion of the video. It's because the Celtics are, at this point, more apt to make Jrue Holiday available via trade this offseason than Derek White. And, of course, like, he's 6 years older. He's a worse shooter. Like, Derek White lines up a lot better with Tatum and Brown than Jrue Holiday does at this point. And I think Jrue Holiday could be a very, very valuable piece for contenders around the league. And Jay King, Celtics reporter for The Athletic, believes that as well. His quote said, several contending teams should have interest in Jrue Holiday. Now, yes, they should have interest, but the question is, what are you going to get back in a deal for Jrue? Kevin O'Connor of Yahoo Sports said any return probably wouldn't be too significant at all for Jrue Holiday. And that's unfortunate because I do think that he's a very valuable piece, but when you combine that with the contract, it's not exactly the most attractive asset in the entire league. Jake Fisher said this about Holiday and then the Celtics situation trading him. He said, for all the speculation already in circulation about Boston potentially making Jrue Holiday available via trade to ease their mounting luxury tax concerns, bear in mind that actually trading Holiday might be harder than it sounds. Multiple rival executives have passed along that for all of Holiday's unquestioned championship know-how after contributing to title teams in Milwaukee and Boston, some form of incentive, such as draft compensation, might have to be attached to Holiday's contract by the Celtics to convince someone to absorb his $104 million remaining on the 34-year-old's deal over the next 3 seasons. And at the end of the day, that's facts are facts. Like, the Celtics may have to attach first-round picks, like multiple if they're going to be making multiple deals and trading away multiple starters, guys who don't have the most value across the league at this point anymore. Yeah, first-round picks might have to be attached. Talking about some swaps down the line, like those might have to be attached. It's unfortunate, and I feel for Jrue Holiday because, like, he doesn't want to leave Boston. He wants to run this thing back and try to contend for more championships. Here's what he had to say. He said, I think we still have a really, really great opportunity and a great window to be successful and win a championship again. I think the talent that we have on this team, not only on the court, but the coaching staff, all the way up to Brad, he has been amazing. So, yeah, the opportunity to win is now, and I still want to be part of that. Unfortunately, Jrue, I'm not so sure you're going to get your wish at this point because think about it. When the Celtics make these trades, they have to sort of match salaries with a lot of these different teams. Like, it's going to be very, very close. They're only going to be getting marginal salary relief back if they are to trade away a Jrue Holiday. Talking about like less than $10 million because a lot of teams in this league don't have the room to absorb that. So, like, they're gonna. It's not gonna be easy to the Celtics to get all this money off of their books, and trading away a lot of assets is probably what's gonna have to get that done. And that means another starter might have to be, or I said another former starter might have to be on the chopping block, and that's Kristaps Porzingis. And it's unfortunate because this was the Celtics cheat code. Somebody who they brought in to really make them the most unguardable team in the entire NBA, but he just hasn't been available. And that was something we were all concerned about when the Celtics made the trade. They ended up winning the title, though, so it's all worth it at the end of the day, and he was a huge impact in that game one. Wasn't really much after that, but he set the tone for the Celtics just dominating that series against Dallas. And I don't want Celtics fans to forget about the production that Kristaps Porzingis gave when he was healthy. The mystery illness screwed everything up, and it's an unfortunate situation, and I hate that Celtics fans are going to remember the latter stage of Porzingis' career as what they remember him by. But I will never forget that game one spurt in the first quarter, no doubt about it. But looking at Kristaps Porzingis as a trade piece at this point, his value really just lies in the fact that he's an expiring contract. The on-court production for Porzingis has dropped so significantly, especially considering the illness, that he is basically a negative asset at this point at $30 million. But the fact that that deal is expiring comes off of the books after next season makes it intriguing enough for teams to be willing to trade for it, because they're not trading for Kristaps Porzingis, the player, at this point. Look, when he's healthy, these numbers are not going to be identical to what we saw in the playoffs this year. He was only playing 20 minutes a game. He couldn't even get double-digit points a night. He's never been the best rebounder, but wasn't effective there. He was so incredibly inefficient that he was unplayable out there for Boston. Luke Cornett, Al Horford put up way better on-off numbers than Kristaps Porzingis did. The Celtics were terrible in those KP minutes, and they probably waited too long to sit him on the bench for the majority of those games. Mark Stein of the Stein Line said this about KP. He said, most rival teams continue to regard Kristaps Porzingis as the most movable Boston vet, thanks to that $30.7 million expiring deal. So it's not just me saying that. It's NBA insiders talking to people around the league, and there is going to be some interest with the fact that he is a $30.7 million expiring deal. And Porzingis has been linked to the Los Angeles Lakers over the past couple of days, with them trying to get some size in their front court and maybe making a guy like Rui Hachimura expendable. I'm not here today to be speculating on a bunch of different trade ideas, just telling you guys who's most likely to be traded by Boston. And right now, that feels like Porzingis. But could the Celtics wait a little bit potentially to go get a better deal, with the current image of Porzingis on the basketball court being in the gutter, the worst of his entire career? He is set to play in the Eurobasket tournament in August and September. So if he's healthy, which Brad Stevens believes he will be, out there on the court for his home country, maybe he plays himself into a little bit of a better deal for the Boston Celtics to trade him away. Maybe a trade later in the summer could be worth it for Boston to explore. And Jay King did say, when the Celtics are going to be making all these moves, don't expect a pure salary dump when it's all said and done. Don't expect them to just send Porzingis over to Brooklyn to just go get some nonsense player who's making $2 million. They're going to try to get some real value back in these deals for Porzingis, for Holiday, for whoever's getting traded from this roster. So do not expect a pure salary dump for the Celtics to just clean up their books a little bit. Last name that we got to talk about, it's going to be short and sweet. He's got to go. Get him off my team, man. Xavier Tillman, what did he do? I thought he would come over here and be somebody who could be mentored by Al Horford. He was only 25 years old when he was traded to Boston. Now he's just a total afterthought. I've kind of forgot he was on the roster in the playoffs, and he was just atrocious in the regular season. Played 33 games, shot 25% from the field. Just get him off my basketball team. He doesn't deserve to be making any money for the Boston Celtics. One more time, I asked you this at the top of the show. I can't even speak now because Xavier Tillman's on my brain. But name a player the Celtics should trade away after I kind of told you the likelihoods of everybody getting moved. Who's a guy that you don't want to see on the Boston Celtics anymore for cap or for playing purposes? I want to hear from the green teamers out there in the comments section. And make sure you are subscribed to the channel for the best Celtics content all offseason long. Whenever we hear a rumor, any piece of news, we're covering it here at Celtics Today. So lock us in as your #1 spot for Celtics content on YouTube. We'll see you guys all in the next one. And as always, let's go C's.